For the better part of the day, Kenyans have been discussing the conduct of the President of the Judiciary, Chief Justice Madam Martha Koome. This is after Madam Martha Koome revealed to the whole nation that the security details of Justice Lawrence Mugambi, the judge who ruled that the acting Inspector General, Mr. Gilbert Masengeli, should be jailed for 6 months for disobeying court summons, have been withdrawn. And Madam Martha Koome was not very happy, and he accused the government, especially the executive arm of the government, of breaking the law, because she felt that when a judge makes a ruling, that judge should not be victimized because of the ruling that is made.
In the wake of this ruling, a disturbing action was taken by the National Police Service over the weekend. The security detail assigned to Honorable Justice Mugambi were disarmed and withdrawn. This deliberate and punitive measure represents a direct assault on judicial independence, an affront to the rule of law, and a violation of the principles enshrined in our Constitution. Article 160 of the Constitution unequivocally protects judicial independence, stating that the judiciary is subject only to the Constitution and the law and shall not be subject to the control or direction of any person or authority. Additionally, any benefits or conditions of service related to a judge's position, including their security, must not be varied to their disadvantage, particularly in retaliation for the lawful execution of their judicial duties. Security for judges is an accrued benefit that cannot be withdrawn whimsically. The act of withdrawing the security of a sitting judge following a judicial decision that displeased certain authorities is deeply concerning. It sends a chilling message to the judiciary and indeed to the public at large, that those entrusted with upholding justice and safeguarding our rights can be intimidated, that judges can be bullied or retaliated against for their rulings. Such actions erode public trust in the independence of the courts. They also undermine the very foundation of our constitutional democracy and pose a risk to disregard of our institutions and descends to lawlessness. If dissatisfied with a judicial decision, the appropriate recourse is to appeal to a higher court. Indeed, we are aware that an appeal has already been filed and is waiting to be heard and determined. We caution, however, that retaliatory measures against a judge or judicial officers have not.
The reason why Kenyans are discussing the conduct of that speech is because many feel that Justice Martha Koome, the Chief Justice Martha Koome, got herself into this problem, and she's part of the reason why the government, the executive arm of the government, is intimidating the judiciary. Because there is a kind of dalliance between herself and William Ruto that is not working well. It's not protecting. It's not using that bromance to protect the judiciary. It has been known over the years that the executive arm of the government has got penchant of intimidating the other branches, the judiciary and the legislative arm of the government. The presidency always captures the judges and even the members of parliament. David Maraga, the former Chief Justice, who was in the very, very position where Madam Martha Koome is, faced the very, very predicaments from the former regime, that of William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. And before he left office, He actually warned the incoming office, he warned the judges. And in fact, that was a period when we were approaching an election. And the former Chief Justice told the judges that if they ever made a mistake of dancing to the tune of the executive or making a mistake in their ruling, then they will plunge this nation into political quagmire. But seems like Madam Martha Koome ignored the warning and the pieces of advice.
The people of Kenya have constitutionally bestowed upon you to be the guardians of our constitution, to uphold the rule of law. I have heard sometimes politicians say that they are better off because they are elected. I want to tell you that according to our constitutional architecture, they have no better power than what you have. It is the people of Kenya who gave you the judicial authority to exercise it for their own good. I want to urge that you don't let the people of Kenya down. I'm sure you live in this country and you have seen the drums of political war being beaten already. My colleagues, if you waver and do the wrong thing, and this country descends into chaos, God will never forgive you. So my urge to you is stand firm. Do the right thing.
Now, there are three events that are haunting the Chief Justice. When Kenyans look at the three events, they feel that Madam Chief Justice should have acted differently together with the Supreme Court. Number one, when Kenyans went to the polling stations and they voted, it is believed that William Ruto and the entire UDA government, rigged that election. That election was never conducted in a free, honest, and a verifiable manner. The IEBC procured what people feel a dishonest presidency. Up to date, people are still asking the IEBC to open the servers. Of course, those are overtaken by events now. It is water under the bridge because Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been claiming that his victory was stolen, is now in bed with the government. Now, people feel that Madam Martha Koome should have acted with a lot of wisdom to overturn the ruling by the IEBC. Had she done that, or the entire Supreme Court, we would have been in a better position. And that is why when the judges are being intimidated, people feel that Madam Martha Koome should not come and start crying foul, looking for sympathy, because she herself procured this presidency. She knew the conduct because even Uhuru Kenyatta, who had worked with William Ruto, warned us that things were not going to be rousing. And as always, every choice has got consequences. And people feel that these are the consequences that Madam Martha Koome has to contend with because she gave that verdict. While giving her rulings, Madam Martha Koome had a motive in it because she used non-judicial terms like wild goose chase, things like hot air and all that. So people feel that she should keep quiet and feel the pain because she did it herself. Number two, William Ruto at a certain point started intimidating judges, and he was saying that he was not going to accept or to obey court rulings. That is when the housing levy was taken to court, the new NHIF was taken to court, and William Ruto was complaining that someone wanted to sabotage his development agendas. And people really questioned how one arm of the government can disobey the other arm of the government. Because according to the constitution, it is Kenyans who have given the executive the powers that they enjoy. Under the new constitution, power belongs to the people. The same people, like Maraga was putting it, who have given the executive arm of the government the powers to enjoy, have also given the judiciary arm of the government powers to enjoy, and they've also donated the same powers to the legislative arm of the government. So people are wondering, how could William Ruto state that he was not going to obey court orders? And Madam Martha Koome, instead of standing firm, because people had started going to the streets, some were saying they were really condemning this. Madam Martha Koome was invited, or do I say ordered, for a meeting in Statehouse, and she attended. I remember very many human rights groups requested Madam Martha Koome not to attend that meeting. And even if she had to attend, they urged Madam Martha Koome to ensure that that meeting was conducted in a neutral place, not in State House, because State House is Ruto's house, so to speak. And when you go for a meeting in someone's house, he dictates the agenda and what to do. There was nothing tangible that was talked about the intimidation of the judges. So people feel that at the right time when she was supposed to act, she did, because Kenyans were behind her. Kenyans were supporting the judges. But instead of standing firm, she goofed, and that is why Kenyans are saying that you don't have any moral authority to cry to us now. Even when certain rulings were made, there are judges who made rulings that went against the wishes of the executive arm of the government. Those judges were transferred. And you see, they always say that, that is a normal exercise that judges can always be transferred. But the motive behind the transfer may raise some mischief. And therefore, they're saying that you're part of the problem and you're not part of the solution. And so, how can we help you? Because many at times, when you stand firm, Kenyans will rally behind you. And the third one is that she blatantly ignored the advice from Chief Justice Maraga, because Maraga was there before. He faced the very, very problems, intimidations. In fact, during his time, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta deliberately curtailed the amount of money that was going to the judiciary. That's when Maraga was telling them that you are sitting in a very precarious office, and therefore you need to be firm, because you will be making rulings that make you rub shoulders even the negative way with the executive arm of the government. It is difficult to please the executive and please wananchi, because if you get a government that is full of wastage and corruption like the one that we have, the UDA, you can only be on either side. Either you are with the people or you are with the executive. And so people are telling Madam Martha Koome that you made your bed and you must lie on it, because we cannot help you when you had an opportunity to make things right, but you did not. So you've been dining with the hyenas and they are now baying for your blood, and you must accept that.